So you don't like being told what to do?
No, it's not that. It's that like
that's
I started running track when I was like 6 6 years old.
Why are you looking at your phone?
Like dictated, right? Like when you're in college, most people get to decide their own majors. We're gonna pull a Band-Aid off of something else. When you're an athlete, they tell you what you're gonna take.
I ain't gonna lie, I did date a brother who was a wide receiver at Texas A&M, and they told him, you're gonna take poultry science.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
So that you can throw this ball and catch it.
So I was lucky to be enough in this program, College Bound, where I actually didn't have to take the SAT after 10th grade. So my 11th and 12th grade year, I would just like looking where I wanted to go.
So you took the SAT in 10th grade?
9th grade and 10th grade, and that was it. So St. Mary's came and they represented the best. They were the institution that had the highest pedigree that was giving me the most financial aid.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
Right.
That's how I went there. But
did you enjoy it there?
I loved it.
What'd you like about it?
A few things. One, as someone who always likes to hear different viewpoints, right? Like I knew I was going to a place that would be challenging in that aspect.
Yeah.
I really came into myself as a public servant there. Like, so, you know, SGA, and shout out to, so the way St. Mary's does, right? We're in DC. So Councilman Robert White in DC is my college classmate, right? So, and then the county executive in Frederick County, Maryland was my other college classmate. So there's like the pedigree there. Yeah. And then it really was the work, right? And the people. Like the work was hard. Okay. Like we had to learn everything about policy. It was hard, but we had a lot of fun. And going to school on the beach didn't hurt.
Touche. As an island gal, touche.
You got to party too.
So,
but I also wanted to go to a small school. So St. Mary's is smaller than my high school. So it's 4,000 people in my high school, 2,500 in my college.
Okay. So why? And you wanted to go somewhere smaller just because you wanted to feel like you were a name, not a number?
Well, I didn't want to take another class where there was like 150 people in it.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to do that anymore. And I got used to the smaller class thing because my trade, so my high school was like a trade focused school. So my trade, computer programming, it was only 12 of us. But all my other classes, like 40, 50 people in it.
So you can code a little bit?
Oh, not anymore. That was a long time ago.
But your MySpace page was popping.
It was jumping.
He had the letters falling down like rain.
Embedded. I ain't had the, the media player. Now I'm going to embed my music in there myself. So the stuff that y'all don't want me to use, I'm going to put in there. Like do all of that.
So you don't like people telling you what to do?
No, I don't.
But I think,
that's what my mom would say. Also, that's what my backside would say too from a kid.
But I think that's kind of like a necessary role if you're going to be a Black person in public servitude, because there's going to be so much being told. There's going to be so much telling you of what you're supposed to do based on what has been done. And nothing that's been done has been for us.
My staff in the room is like, Amanda, you're killing us right now. But you're right? And I think it's also for me, it's that, but it's also like this thing of right and wrong, right? Like my parents will tell you that if I knew I was right and they were wrong, even if they wouldn't admit it, I would look at my father and say, go ahead, you're going to have to whoop my because I know I'm right. It's that, like, it was that. Same. I would take it. I would take it every time. Like, yep, volunteer to take it. Here, go ahead. Do what you're going to do. Just don't tell me I can't go outside. He figured that out like, when I was 12 years old, though. But that's the truth for me. And I learned that. And I learned
Where did that moral compass come from?
It came from my family first, right? Like I said, look, it's different when a lot of folks in our generation, this thing about segregation and Jim Crow and all of that is so far-fetched, right? But
it ain't that far-fetched.
It ain't. And especially for me, right? Like I talk to my dad every day. When I go back to visit my family every year in North Carolina, I have to drive past this school that he was in 7th grade when they integrated, that I know that the person that lived in that house and someone whose family still lives there, right? His classmates' dad told him, gave him a gun first day and said, it's okay to go to school and shoot one of them. Like, that's not a far-fetched thing.
No, that's like
I can see that, right? I remember being down there with my grandfather when we're taking the pigs that we're about to sell, and we get to a place, and I'm like, well, Granddaddy, let's stop at that store. Nah, boy, we can't go there. Like, I know that. Like, we can't go there. And this is understanding that my grandfather, if people see him, they thought he was white, right? And now it's even more so with the blessing of ancestry and me being able to go and see that like my family was free in rural North Carolina in the 1700s, right? And I'm like, oh, that's why white people hate me. They never owned me, right? Like that's why they hate me so much. Racist people, that is. But I think like that.
You
it
know,
comes
say there's
from-
only two kinds of white people. Me and James Baldwin say the same thing. I didn't know that James Baldwin had said this previous, but we right here. There's only two kinds of white people. There's white people and people who happen to be white. That's it.
But I think it comes from that. And then learning from other folks, right? So I've talked about Mayor Rawlings Blake and the opportunity she gave me. But then also, like, I had a blessing in Baltimore. I had Elijah Cummings, right? Like, and I miss him daily, right? I've never been so excited to be in trouble in my life. But when I would get them calls, Brandon, come over to my office. I'm like, damn, I'm in trouble now.
Good
I
trouble.
done did something, right? Good trouble, right? Most of the time. But like having him tell me these things,
Yeah.
but then also something that sticks with me, and I'm gonna try not to cry because I didn't know.
Everyone cries on this show.
No one knew how sick he was. He called me over to his office, and we're sitting there talking, and his staffer, Harry, who he never put out of any meeting, he said, Harry, I need you to step out for a minute. And I'm like, damn, I really f***ed up this time. What did I do? I'm thinking to myself, what have I done? I've been chilling. And he goes, Brandon, I want to tell you something. You're going to need this sooner than you think. And he says, you always treat everybody, people that agree with you, disagree with you, people that call you everything but the name your mama gave you, with dignity and respect. He said, I want you to keep that. I want you to always treat people that way, because one day, I was only city council president at the time. You're not going to be council president, Brandon Scott. You're not going to be councilman, mayor, whatever you grow to be. You're just going to go back to being Brandon from Park Heights. And you have to be able to go out to that corner and those people know that you're the same person that you were before, and forget everybody else. Your family has to know you were the same person, because people are going to start coming from you. A week later, he was gone. And
A week?
A week later, he was gone.
Do you think he knew?
He knew. He had to know. But that was him. He had this foresight that I've never seen in anybody before. But he was right. I was leaving his funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And an elected official, who I'm not going to name, called me and said, hey, I heard what you said, because I told this story at the ceremony we had for Elijah. Right. I heard what you said about the congressman the other day. I hope that is the same for you and me, because I want to let you know I'm endorsing somebody else in the race. And my first thought was like, why the f*** are you asking me this today? And then that was the first. But then people just started coming out of the woodwork, saying all kind of crazy things. I had an illegitimate child. I was doing this. People that are in the quote unquote political sphere were pushing this stuff. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh my God, he's really, really gone. Because when stuff like that used to happen for people, one call to Elijah, he would say, stop it.
The buffer was gone.
And it was gone. He would end it. And I think that's, that being around those kind of people really impacts you.
The question I want to ask is, what makes Black people being involved in local government so important?
Because local government is where the rubber meets the road, right? No one is going to ask their state representative, their congressman, even the president, like for anything. They're going to ask their local council person, alderperson, mayor. And that's where everything hits. We're the ones that hit the people the most, right? When you think about basic functions, right? If people's trash can't get picked up, like their world, if they can't get their kids to school, if there's no after school program, if they don't have access to public transportation, if they don't have internet, all of these things, most of which are not the responsibility of local government, but that's what they're going to bring to the table if they don't feel safe in their communities. And we have to be focused in local government. And people, what we have to do as Black people is, one, realize the importance of local government, but also the importance of understanding where all other levels of government flow into that.
All right, so y'all know how it works. We're going to go to the Patreon to answer some questions. A little bonus section with the mayor right here. Okay, the people have spoken. Uh-oh. So if you want to hear what the people are saying and what he got to say to the people, head on over to theamandaverse.com. I would ask you if you go to therapy.
I do. All the time. Love my therapist.
Okay, Black man.